He shifted, hand resting on my thigh, thumb brushing my skin. Still light, still could have been innocent. But we both knew it wasn't. I should have laughed it off. Move, said boundaries, kid. Instead, I heard myself whisper, "You okay?" like an idiot. He answered by sliding his hand higher. I didn't stop him. The rest is a blur of clothes coming off, mouth crashing, couch cushions everywhere. It wasn't planned, wasn't gentle, wasn't some Tinder taboo romance scene. It was fast and messy and desperate, like we'd both been holding our breath for weeks and finally let go. Afterward, we just lay there tangled up, breathing hard. He kissed my forehead like he was scared I'd vanish. I laughed, shaky and high and terrified, because what the fuck did we just do? I'm sitting here now in the dark, replaying it, waiting for the disgust to hit. It hasn't. Not yet. There's guilt, yeah, huge waves of it, but underneath is this dizzy, wrong, butterflies feeling I can't shake. I'm terrified I ruined everything. That tomorrow he'll look at me differently, or I'll look at him differently, and the easy friendship we had will be gone forever. But right now, in this moment, I don't regret it. And that scares me more than anything. My spoiled and entitled younger sister got pregnant by my older sister's fiancé 3 weeks before their wedding and announced it at dinner. So we gave her a brutal reality check and slowly ruined her life. After my older sister, Rebecca, discovered that Jessica had been secretly sleeping with her fiancé, David, for 6 months and was pregnant with his child. There was a lot of tension in the whole family. Of course, Jessica, the golden child, was shameless and went on to marry David in the exact same venue Rebecca had booked, wearing a white dress despite being 7 months pregnant. Rebecca found it extremely hard at the beginning, especially since Jessica had used Rebecca's own wedding plans, vendors, and even tried to steal her wedding dress. We were extremely close through this time period, and we helped each other through the betrayal. Eventually, she got over it, met a really successful investment banker named Malik, who understood her past trauma and treated her like a queen. They got married in a beautiful destination wedding in Santorini, and I was actually the maid of honor. She even invited our parents to the wedding, despite the fact they had attended Jessica's wedding to David, and acted like nothing was wrong. My parents didn't attend. However, a few more years went by, and eventually our parents reached out to Rebecca, begging to reconcile with her. And this is where the crap storm started. Rebecca agreed to reconcile and came to dinner, along with her husband, Malik. Jessica was also there with David and their 2 kids. Throughout the evening, I noticed Jessica kept making snide comments about how some people can have children. Rebecca and Malik have been trying, and how David was such an amazing father. But Malik just held Rebecca's hand under the table. When it was time for dinner, my parents made a toast. Then out of nowhere, Jessica stood up and said that she was so blessed to have such a beautiful family, and that she was pregnant again. But everybody pities a woman who stole a man. Turned out to be worthless. Everyone in the room just stared as David's phone began buzzing. Non-stop. The other women had started posting about him on social media, and his divorce attorney was calling. But then Jessica started laughing, a slow, unsettling laugh that made everyone uncomfortable. She pulled out her phone and showed us a video. "You think you've won, Rebecca?" "Malik, I've been recording every private conversation you've had in your home for the past 2 years. Here's, including the one where you discussed the hostile takeover, before it was public information. That's insider trading, sweetheart. And the best part, I have recordings of you admitting to something much worse, something that happened back in college, that you thought nobody knew about." Rebecca's face went white as Jessica continued. "So here's what's going to happen. You're going to call off the takeover. You're going to transfer $5 million to my account, and you're going to smile while you do it. Or I send this to the FBI tomorrow morning." Malik started to speak, but Jessica cut him off. "Oh, and Malik, I have recordings of your, let's call them creative back strategies, too. Turns out David wasn't the only one who's been naughty." That's when Rebecca started laughing, too. She looked at Jessica with an expression I've never seen before and said quietly, "You really should have checked who actually owns the security company that installed those cameras." Jess. The room went dead silent. Jessica's smile faltered for the first time. What did you just say? Rebecca stood up slowly, her hand resting on her stomach. I said, you should have checked who owns the security company. Plot twist, little sister. I've known about your recordings for 18 months, and I've been feeding you exactly what I wanted. You to hear every single word. Jessica's phone suddenly went black. Then mine, then everyone's in the room. The question is, Rebecca continued walking tower. By the time I'm done with him, he'll have nothing left. The recording continued. Jessica's voice clear as day, discussing her plans to frame Rebecca for various crimes, her schemes to turn their parents against her permanently, and most damning of all, her confession about deliberately causing Rebecca's first miscarriage by slipping something into her drink. At a family barbecue 2 years ago, David lunged for Rebecca's phone, but Malik stepped between them. Despite being smaller than David, Malik's calm demeanor. Hey, David, step back immediately. Sit down, Malik said quietly. David sat. Jessica's face had gone from red to white to green. She clutched her stomach, and for a moment, I thought she might actually... He's sick right there on our mother's virgin rug. That's edited. Jessica stammered. You can't prove anything. Those recordings are fake. Rebecca smiled, and it wasn't a nice smile. Really? Because I have the originals. Time-stamped, location tagged. Some of them even have video, Jess. Like the one where you're in my house, going through my medical records, while I was at my fertility appointments. The one where you're teaching your son to call me the sad Andy, who can't have babies. He's 4, Jessica, 4 years old, and you're already teaching him cruelty. Our mother finally found her voice. Rebecca, Jessica, please, we're family. We can work this out without all this. This drama. Rebecca turned to our mother, and years of suppressed anger finally surfaced. She slept with my fiancé for 6 months. He wore white to her wedding while pregnant with his child. She used my wedding plans. My vendors tried to steal my dress. And you called it drama. You attended her wedding like nothing happened. You chose her over me, just like you always have. We didn't choose sides. Our father protested weakly. Silence is choosing a side. I found myself saying. Everyone turned to look at me. You've been silent about Jessica's behavior our whole lives. When she stole Rebe. Jessica stood there, her mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. Here's what's going to happen, Rebecca said, standing up and placing a protective hand over her stomach. You're going to leave my house alone. You're going to stop spreading lies about me. You're going to get therapy, real therapy, not the kind where you manipulate the therapist into thinking you're the victim. And you're going to stay away from me and my family. Or what? Jessica snarled. The mask finally completely off. You'll release some edited recordings. You think you've won. I'll destroy you. I'll make sure everyone knows what kind of person you really are. Rebecca pulled up one final video on her phone. It's Jessica sitting in what looked like Rebecca's bedroom, holding a bottle of pills. These should do it, Jessica's recorded voice said. A few of these in her smoothie, and bye, baby. She'll think it's another miscarriage. Poor Baron Rebecca. The room went completely silent. Even the sirens outside had faded away. You recorded yourself planning to poison me, Rebecca said quietly. You recorded yourself actually doing it, and you kept a video. Why, Jess? As a trophy. Jessica's legs gave out. She collapsed into her chair. All fight gone. I didn't mean it wasn't supposed to. To what? Call my baby? Just make me sick enough to miscarry. What exactly was your plan? Our mother started crying. Real tears, not the manipulative kind Jessica wielded like weapons. My baby, she sobbed. What have you done? What have we done? You enabled a monster, I said flatly. You're seeing what monsters do when they think they're invincible. David suddenly jumped up. I need to go. I need to the lawyers. I have to. He headed for the door, but Malik's voice stopped him. I wouldn't go home if I were you. Samantha's there with her brothers. They're very protective of their pregnant sister. The one you told you were getting divorced to. Mary David's face went even paler. If that was possible. He slumped.